Hey, folks.
Hello.
Welcome to How to Human. Brandon, you're a doll for keeping it doing this with me.
This is fun. It's too much fun. And see, the problem is that both of us have good conversations regardless of other people listening. And so we're just like, oh shoot, we've got to go live. I mean, if these people could actually hear the after show that goes on for an hour.
I know. I know. The after show is usually lengthy, and unless we're both really tired, we're like, okay, we gotta go, which might be the night tonight because I'm already drinking.
So did you want to start with the new venereal disease, or did you want to start with the playlist, the sexy playlist?
I know. I don't want to. I hate that I'm going to attribute this to one of my wonderful colleagues. I'm attributing it to Dr. Lee Phillips, but not the article itself, but the he shared the article today, and I was just kind of stunned. It was from the Wall Street Journal. And they have essentially found COVID-19 in semen. So that's no bueno. That's not good.
Oh. Hey, Angela.
Angela's here. People
Hi.
Are here. People are here. Hi, yes, Angela. People are already jumping in. They found COVID in semen. Damn it.
Men will never go outside again. It's a woman's world now. Peace, y'all.
We're out.
I'm game until 2030.
It's hard to tell. They haven't figured out the viral loads yet. So, but I mean, this is the time we're in, right? Like they're trying to figure this. They're trying to figure this shit out. Is that a COVID spurt? Oh, that's Aaron Miley. That's my husband. Let me just put that on the screen. That's my husband.
Well, at least I could make so many jokes about loads and BD and
everyone. I mean, we got to make a joke out of this because we just keep getting.
It is a joke. We're in the middle of a simulation. The simulation is glitching and it's just trying to get rid of us.
It was the Matrix the whole time.
The COVID is actually the antivirus. It's kind of like McAfee. And unfortunately, I mean, Bill Gates is talking, so this whole thing must be running the Windows operating system, which is probably why it's glitching.
Bill Gates, fix it, man. Cheers. You got your coffee. I got tea tonight.
I got my iced coffee. Well,
I actually
said we can fix it, folks. I couldn't even fix 3.1 going into XP.
I don't know. He's got such a dork voice. It's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's really it's everything you expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
All of these cliches we live with, like, Bezos looks like
Voldemort.
Dr. Evil.
Mm-hmm. So does our former governor Rick Scott here in Florida. Looks like Voldemort. There are many people who call him that in the state of Florida, which I think is funny. But yeah, like they don't know the viral load yet. So we don't know if it is sexually transmittable. So like, we'll see. We shall see. We're learning all of these things about this virus, but this is how the scientific method works, folks.
It is.
It's going to take some time. It's going to take time. That's what it is.
Could be many things wrong in the process along the way. So.
Oh my gosh, yes. Loads of mistakes.
Rick Scott is Skeletor. Ooh,
also,
there we go. Good 80s, 90s reference.
Mm-hmm. So Brandon has his traditional coffee. I have tea tonight.
Yes.
Because
that's mommy's new word for an IPA.
It's not.
Tea.
It's been a long ass week, and I'm probably going to bed after this.
I'm sure.
No, actually, it's funny enough. I actually suggest this tea to people for sleep when I'm working with my folks, my clients. It's sleepy time extra. It's not just the regular sleeping time.
Now, if I can butt in with a little bit of medical advice on that.
Go right ahead.
If you're on blood thinners, do not touch it.
Yes, don't touch anything with chamomile in it.
The sleepy time teas have things in them that are not meant to mesh with warfarin specifically.
Yes.
It's bad with warfarin. So
Don't
if you're
do
on
it.
the little green pill, do not do it.
And
it
people
is-
don't think about like the teas they're drinking or like any of the herbal things they're doing or their vitamins and their prescriptions. So
Yeah.
please, people,
double
freaking.
check.
I can't tell you how many people who take like allergy medication regularly don't realize that it can affect your erectile dysfunction, or it can increase erectile dysfunction.
Okay, I just had a vision of someone sneezing and getting a hard on. Whoa! It just spikes the blood pressure.
Probably when you're 14, that's probably a thing.
I mean, it kind of was. I could like, ooh, I felt some air. My fly must be down. Ooh, free ball.
Watch out now. But yes, so I know we got quickly to any kind of substances that you that you take in, regardless of what they are, prescription, over the counter, whatever they are, check them out with your doctor, because
please.
This has valerian root in it, so that's what makes it extra. Yeah, Angela had no clue about the allergy meds. Yep, you got to be careful. Something that we're looking at research too right now, those who've been like microdosing with mushrooms, we've been watching them for erectile issues as well. Yeah.
As in, like, people were actually seeing a larger penis than they had before, or
you would think that maybe that would be helpful. Maybe it's just to convince you that there's the larger penis. No. No, it's actually it's linked to the blood vessels and the constriction of the blood vessels. We're still trying to understand what the interaction is, but there are many people, excuse me, see, tired, many hallucinogens that are tied to some form of maybe sexual function issue, but we're still trying to understand it. We don't know all the things, so don't go out there and say, well, Erika said not to microdose. Like, no, y'all don't. Not a pharmacist. No. It's just interesting research that is being done. That is all. That is all.
For sure.
So, otherwise,
so we found semen. We found coronavirus in semen. Maybe they're manifesting larger penis. I mean, this is what I think. Manifesting larger, manifesting. Maybe that's if you manifest it. That's good meditation practices.
You can manifest a larger penis.
Yeah.
Is it? I know. I can't always be the one that says size is really, really not as important as many people would like to make it be. And I know that there will be people that probably jump into these comments right now and be like, "That's full of shit."
Well, I mean, it's. I mean, the way I always looked at it was like there's small, medium, and large. Small, medium, and large. I'm trying to get my hand into the frame.
Where's the camera?
Of both. Of penis, yes. Of vagina. There's small, medium, and large.
Yes.
And that, medium kind of fits it all. And large doesn't fit everything. Neither does small.
That's right. Because the vagina, because you are using that. Look at Brandon using the proper terms. The inside is the vagina. The outside is the vulva. The inside is not all that long, 3 to 5 inches. So about the same length of an average penis. Big surprise. So yes, Angela says you gotta know how to use it, and Aaron says say that to someone with a micropene. I mean, fair, but there are ways to help those with the micro penis. So do not give up if that is you out there. Yeah, you'll imagine that it's bigger than it is. Back, look at you bring it back around so expertly.
Microdosing of the LSD. I don't care if it's small; it's funny shapes.
Oh,
it's the fury of the onslaught. Oh, so you're talking about the jackhammer technique.
Yes,
that's what Oh god, that's what Kevin used to do when he was doing sex scenes in co-ed. He used to do the jackhammer. He just
So I brought Anthony's comment up here because I was
Yeah.
just on Anthony's show.
Oh, fun.
I did an interview on Anthony's show, and Anthony, feel free to put all the info on your show in the comments so folks can go listen to it. Because, so he challenged me. So his show is a music show, and it's after midnight. Am I going to screw it up, Anthony? I'm going to probably screw it up. Fix me in the comments. But anyway, it's all essentially why every show has a theme, and I got to come on and talk about sexy songs and why they're important to me. So I was like, I messaged Brandon immediately. I was like, we need to do a show about, where's the camera? We need to do a show about all of the sex music. We need to do a show on the sex music, please. And so Anthony inspired this for sure.
Nice.
So you all, oh God, please don't. It was just men with brooms. No, you're fine. After midnight. Yay, I got it right. I feel like I got the quiz right.
Nice. You
but
are the winner.
That show is really fun. Anthony is wonderful to listen to, and you can actually get to hear the songs. That is something that I do not love about some music podcasts. You can't hear, like you can't hear the music. Like they'll just talk about the music. They don't necessarily play it. Anthony plays the music. Nice. And so you get to hear the why for each one of my songs, which we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Mm-hmm. And then Brandon and I'm really excited because we made separate playlists, and we're then going to make we're going to mash them together and make a big playlist. I don't
know that they're going to mash together. I don't think they're going to mash together. No.
But we should mash them together so that everybody can have all the songs, and then they can add to them or take away. So if you put a song in this comment, in the comments thread, I am saying right now, I'm probably going to regret this, Brandon.
What? Well, yeah.
We'll probably add it. We'll add it to the playlist. We will add it. We will add your songs to the playlist.
After being vetted.
we may have to vet them.
Count Chocula remix is not.
So we're not going to be able. We were trying to figure out how we could like broadcast these songs, but I don't think, and I honestly don't think that YouTube or Facebook would probably allow us to do it anyway. So I'm going to be the kind of show that I hate, which is not be able to air the songs, but we're going to talk about it. My husband
totally fine, but we'd have to bring it in through a virtual audio capture device, and I'm not going to go there because this is not a tech show.
And we'll be here for 10 years trying to figure it out.
No, it took me like 5 minutes, but I really don't want to do that right now.
Oh, fair.
No. So yes, we've got that. I've brought. I think I'm showing you my Hinge thing. You wanted to do Hinge as well.
Yes, we're also going to talk about Hinge tonight because we like to talk about these different dating platforms. And Hinge is one that I have heard of. This is actually one of the ones that I've heard a lot of from my clients. I know it's newer, and I know it's based on social media connections, but I know we'll get more into it when we get there for sure.
Yeah, it's different. It's more heavily algorithmed than the other ones are. I haven't been on for a while. So what it does, if you haven't been connecting with it regularly, it downgrades your profile and then gives you
that's judgy
what it would refer to as the lower quality results. So the less you're connecting with people, you move into different tiers in their system. I heard this from a friend who was speaking to one of the developers. So you will see people who, and I opened up a lot more of my thing to get more results because the minute I got in there, it was like, no.
That's crazy town. If you don't log in, you don't get good matches.
You've got to be repeatedly engaging with it because then it sees a heartbeat here, and then as you're engaging with profiles on Hinge, if you say swipe left, no way, Jose, that profile, the more no's it gets, the more it gets downgraded.
Is this a way for them to control for bots? Is like that what they're thinking?
No, this is a way for them to control that if you are an in-demand user, you are only seeing other in-demand users. Or, I mean, it also has more filters than the other dating apps do. You can filter for race, you can filter for religion. It opens up a whole host of filters if you pay for it, which is like $20 a month.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which I'm not about the racial filters. That's like I'm gonna see someone I'm attracted to who's in any race. It doesn't mean it's going to be everyone, but there are going to be people. So why would I filter? I live in New York. I'm in the melting pot, for Pete's sakes.
Right. There's going to be every version of human where you are, for sure. And that I mean, I'm so unsettled by and this is like a broader conversation generally. Like I'm really unsettled by the amount of information and algorithm things that take place in our lives, and specifically in dating. Like that, it bugs me deep in the pit of my stomach.
There have been people who have actually done data requests and gotten the data drop from the dating apps, and it's like hundreds of pages long of the information that they have. I mean, the minute you let them into your Facebook profile, it already has some information.
Right.
Yeah. This gets back to like Facebook buying anonymized medical records because it didn't need your name on them to figure out who it was.
I'm putting this on the screen because I'm so distracted by it.
Oh, thank you. That is because I am using a ring light.
Oh, yes.
So the light's coming right around the camera lens. And because that comes in from where the camera is, it takes and throws a shadow right there.
Just a great jawline. But
thank you.
My ring light is behind my laptop, so it's probably and I'm short.
It's a little too far back. If you were to be a little closer to it and then not backlight yourself.
I think it's like uplight myself.
Yeah, that's getting the background lit. So what I've done here, we're getting into the photography fun.
Awesome.
I'm using a color RGB off in the distance to throw magenta on the wall. So this is towards the blue side.
Oh,
that's
yes.
Towards the red side. And what that does is does color contrast, and it pops me out in the shot.
You're a genius human being.
No, I just pay it. I shoot. And I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube about like
I know you do. The pictures I get from you are incredible. They're incredible.
Well, I'm gonna have to head down and take some shots of you too. So we'll get this worked out once I go on my road trip because gas is gonna be so cheap.
Yo, and you have a free place to stay, and we'll go to the beach.
Oh, that'll be great. That'll be great. So we should get this show on the road. We got some great people on here.
Yes, and we got a bunch of people just hanging out with us tonight. I'm so glad y'all are here with us tonight. We got it's been floating back and forth between 8 and 10 people, and we got Angela and Anthony and Teresa's. Everybody's here. We're ready. Do we want to jump into Hinge?
Start? Yeah, we can do
Hinge
that.
first.
I mean, I can share my page. I think you've already got my page, right?
I do.
Oh, come on. There we go.
Yay. So that picture on your background is yours, I know.
Yeah, that's one of mine. Oh, and that should not be open. That's another window. There we go. I've got my clean background. Look at that.
So pretty.
Yeah. Hide. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, so that's the first profile I got up. Do you want to start with my profile or do you want to start with the matches stuff?
Let's start with yours and then we'll start with matching, because I think people need to see what this looks like, because this is a fairly new in the last year. Is it this year or last year that Hinge came out?
Been around for like
married
3-4 years. I like it because when you're looking at profiles, it's one of the most clean and simple profile designs, and when people know how to use it and curate their pictures, they can really create a very nice, clean looking profile.
Yes. Yes. And
So
the thing that, as much as I already like talked about my concerns about the data,
yeah,
there is something too, like we talked about what 2 shows ago when we talked about Tinder, that there is something too, like being more likely to match with people that you are around and more likely to be around or more likely to meet in person. And from
yeah.
what I understand, that's the basis of Hinge, right?
It yeah, it like looks, if I remember right, it looks at your second and third degree connections.
Mhm.
So say I'm connected to you, but
Mhm.
I might not know your friend Stephanie,
Mhm.
and we happen to be within distance. Even though you're down in Florida, I'm up
Mhm.
here. Your friend Stephanie happens to be in New York.
Right.
It sees that mutual connection, and then it may then in turn suggest her to me.
Right.
It won't say that we're mutual in that way,
Mhm.
but it also filters against your LinkedIn.
Interesting.
I
So,
believe it filters against your LinkedIn to make sure that you're not possibly matching with work connections.
to me, that would make sense. Like, so you're not
Yeah,
matching with, like, if you work
your
for a
boss.
company, your boss, somebody's supervisor, your roommate supervisor.
Right. Yeah. So and it's been a little while. I've found that as I say, the talent pool on Hinge is not consistent. So,
Interesting.
um, yeah, once I dial it in and filter it in, I find the results are not consistent. But it's also like you're splitting your time between all of these apps. You really have to focus on one that works for you. You
Right.
can't be splitting your time because all of them gauge the amount of time you put into them, and
Mm.
then they change the results you're getting based on that.
So the other thing that I've heard about the various apps is that, of course, it seems that there are many that it really depends on what's popular in your area, like the app that is popular in your area.
And I think that also gets into the wider discussion of socioeconomic class and how different groups of people,
Yes.
different apps are popular. And I think you can pull that conversation even further back historically
Mhm.
to things like ICQ, AOL Instant
Oh,
Messenger,
you are taking me back, man.
MSN. Yeah. So when you're thinking of that era, which is the late 90s into the early 2000s, ICQ was really popular in portions of the Midwest, like Utah. I was in
Mhm.
Utah. Everyone had an ICQ number. We
Mhm.
traded our ICQ
Oh, we
numbers.
did too.
ICQ is in history. It's
Yep.
gone.
I know,
Um,
right? Like in California, it was
yeah.
ICQ, and then eventually it was MSN.
And AOL Instant Messenger. And I
Mhm.
remember AOL Instant Messenger was popular in like Minnesota. And really, I mean, and then MSN was popular in other places. Ooh, I got a like. Christine liked you. She commented on your answer. Oh,
Oh, look,
well,
that happened
hello.
real time, people.
That happened real time.
Hmm.
So
We need to find out who
some
Christine
of
is.
these are new pictures, some of them aren't. What I did is I threw a new headshot that I took like 2 weeks ago up here. The
Mhm.
second shot, so the next one to the right, will go left, right, is from a music video shoot that I was on. So it's got kind of fun party like atmosphere to it. Then,
Can
of
you make
course,
each one bigger so we can see them, or is it just gonna
yes,
wave it? Oh,
I
yes,
can.
look at that. Look at that. That's the party picture.
That's kind of, I was on a music video shoot and just kind of grabbed this because you're not always going to be around stuff like that. So and you can apparently do prompts on these things now. I have not used this in like a year or two. So
Mhm.
this is also an older picture of me and the cat.
It's a kitty.
And then this is a picture from last year. I was fooling around with some lighting and stuff, but I always kind of like that headshot
It's very
type
brooding.
thing.
Very
I
brooding.
I I always take brooding pictures. I have trouble. Then of course I have my required picture of using my nephew to troll for women. Uh, Hank,
I'm glad
you
you're
have
being
no
honest.
idea. Yes,
He
my
will
brother
someday.
would probably kill me. But and then actually, I was out at the beach last summer with my cousin who moved to New York, and
Mm,
so that's me and my younger cousin here
very
down in
cute.
Coney Island. So it's kind of I actually like these picture choices better than the ones I've got currently on the other ones. So I may have to track these down and move them over to that, because this shows a lot more kind of the
It's
personality. I'm around
variability.
people, but it's also, exactly who you're swiping.
Yes, I have. There is no doubt. I've been seeing you in various settings. I'm seeing
Yeah.
you at various angles. I'm seeing like different kind of parts of your life. So there's lots of information to be had from these photos for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. There's some sporty elements to it. It's also, I have fun. I go out. It's yeah. I like this one better than my other ones, so I'm gonna have to grab the pictures. Plus, you get to do questions, and I believe you get to pick the questions, and then, of course, the answers. Hallmark of a good relationship is communication, intimacy, and the desire to drive your partner to do great things, which I'm always a driver, because it's always good to push the other person to be successful.
Rock and roll.
Ideal fake sick day, an afternoon at the Russian banya, stuffing my face with awesome food. Join the hot room. Which, of course, I'm always trolling for someone who likes to do new things. And no, I have not ever had Bojangles. Still to this day, have still not had Bojangles.
Bojangles? Question mark?
Which is
What are we
a
talking about?
southern, very popular in the Carolinas and
I have not
Virginia.
either.
Yeah,
but I grew up on the West Coast, so Bojangles. I think I immediately thought of the song when you said Bojangles.
Oh yeah,
I did not. It tells you music nerd. And you're going to see a lot of that here in a minute when we talk about this playlist.
Yeah, and everything else is, pretty self-explanatory. I mean, with this much information, honestly, anyone who saw my profile could Google Brandon plus some of these things and easily find me in the real world.
Yes.
It's kind of, location needs to be changed. But that is not where I am anymore. I always have these. I'll have to get that changed later. These are fun. Yeah, and this is what it looks like.
Oh, so when you look at a profile, this is what it looks like.
This is what a profile looks like. It's very clean. And so someone who's really good with Instagram and knows how to curate their pictures,
Yes.
would do really well with this.
Yes.
Like, I could go through probably and pick a certain profile style and then just style the whole darn thing. But yeah, so that's my profile.
Very good.
And then, okay, what is Bojangles? Everyone is wanting to know. Well, we have a cat lady. Wonderful. Not negatively. I'm a cat guy. Yeah, Smurf. Interesting. This is the person who had matched midway through. That is probably her daughter.
If you date this person and then like them, we will have to edit this part of the video out.
I think we'll be leaving this alone for now. We'll just go back to my profile.
If she's cute, I would hate I apologize in advance, Christine.
No,
we're not going to sit here and judge you.
She is not exactly my type.
Fair.
Fair. But yeah, so that's Hinge.
So essentially, though, it pulls from the different connections you already have, uses an algorithm, and then shows you based on how much you're using this app, who's around.
Yeah.
Within your circles.
Oh, and instead of you can X out of a profile, but to like a profile, you actually have to like something about it.
Oh,
so, that's yeah. And then you can add a comment if you want to. I don't know that actually improves your chances of someone. Okay, and this is where you get into the don't use filters. Seriously, don't use filters. I don't care how cute you think it is, but that, you see this as a filter, and then the next thing is video, and it's just No.
Not
So, anywho,
not Snapchat filters or Instagram filters. Don't do that on dating profiles. Just
no, don't do it.
don't
So
do it.
I'm gonna pull that away. Are we? I don't even know what frame we're on right now. I'm going to bring my StreamYard thing back up, so this
Yay.
will look okay. So you can send away my screen share.
Ta-da!
We
did it.
And boom. Okay, perfect.
We did
Yay!
it.
Because otherwise, it looks like things go on forever.
We'll be here for 10 years. So Hinge is different. It's definitely one of those apps that you would have to. It sounds like you'd have to use and spend some time with. It's not. The more connected it is to like a second or a third like connection, right? Like that's kind of what they're looking at, like through Facebook and through LinkedIn. Do they connect to other social, like the other social medias, like Instagram?
It's been so long. I'd have to go through and figure that stuff out. I didn't like the matches it was sending my way, and it just didn't work for me.
Teresa says down with the filters. Don't do it. So if you have experiences with Hinge, drop them in the comments because it's kind of interesting to hear everybody's different experiences with these because again, from what I understand from many of my folks that I work with regularly is that the popularity of the app really is based on region. And I really do think you're more than likely right when it comes to like, there's probably some socioeconomic research to be done there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like right now, during the coronavirus, Bumble in New York has been pretty much the best. Bumble is the most real. It's not for quantity of matches, but I matched with someone like a month ago, and she and I talk every other day or so. So who knows? Maybe maybe Brandon might actually have a date after this whole thing's over. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, Tinder has been doing a passport thing, which is allowing a lot of people from other countries to swipe as though they're in New York, and that's just polluted up the entire pool. So there's really nothing to be swiped there.
Right, unless you want to do some of these virtual dates and then know that that's probably where they will always remain.
I mean, I didn't like Hinge. Quality of matches were the same. It connected me with a ton of people that were nowhere near me. I didn't like that I got a ton of notifications either. And if someone messages and you don't reply, the notification doesn't go away.
Oh, annoying.
Well, it forces you to engage with people that have matched you. So you've got to say no or yes, which I don't mind necessarily. Because usually just looking at the profile, I'm like, no, yes. There's someone for everyone. I'm not the right person for everyone. I mean,
we're not for everyone.
Is a fundamentalist Christian with my background, I'm probably not the right person.
Right. Like you do, but that's something that it's so important to remember that regardless of any of these applications, or if you decide to meet people in person, however you want to do this, that you do not have to be for everyone. And if you're not interested in someone, it's okay to say so.
Yeah. And do say so, because it's showing respect to the other person.
Yes.
If you're not interested, move on. It's great. And especially the older you get, just be honest. Like, I'm not interested.
Yes, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Teresa says, Spokane is nationally known with data to support it as one of the worst cities to date in. I have definitely, I think part of that is Spokane is like a medium-sized city. And it is in eastern Washington, so it is one of the largest cities in the Northwest, the further east you go from Seattle. So you have a giant variability of human in that area.
Well, and a city that is good for one group of people or one age range of people is not necessarily, like, for instance, Spokane might actually be a good place for me. Because it might have a low number of men per women.
It could. It very well could be. But Let's see. I guess it did a feature because people would reply back with one word answers just to remove the notification. That's got to be annoying. That seems like a programming issue that could be fixed. That notifications once you check them are gone.
Yeah.
Because I hate that when you have an update of any app and then the notification is all screwed up because something's wrong with the update.
And she makes a point, so it felt like the conversation never went anywhere. And for me, when it feels like the conversation is not going anywhere, I just don't think it's a real person on the other side. And I'm like, goodbye. You're not going to be able to deal with me in the real world because I talk. Goodbye.
Like we don't have.
I'm going to be too much for you. I have like 3 personalities. I'm going to be way too much for you. You need someone with half of a personality. That's fine. It's what you need. You want to be star of the show. Go for it. Enjoy. But yeah. No. Yeah, but that's like I was looking through lists of, and when I was looking through lists of cities, it was all, what are the best cities for guys in their 30s today? And they're going to be very different cities than women in their 30s or women in their 20s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now we can't go anywhere.
Well,
dating, and this is going to be really interesting, anthropological studies going on after this.
There's a breaking point. We've already hit it here in New York. I was out 2 days ago. People were out playing racquetball in the racquetball courts. People were out playing basketball in the basketball courts.
Yes.
They've reached the breaking point in New York, and they're not willing to do it very much longer. It's just it's been enough. So
yeah, I think here in Florida we started phase 1, and there's definitely there are definitely more people out and about, more people willing to be more out and about, more people starting to go to some of their like former activities. We haven't quite opted to do any of that yet as far as us personally. We're not super game yet to be with other sweaty people, because we're both, my husband and I are athletes and we play a lot of sports, and I'm not quite ready to do all that. I am willing to do like things at a distance, like I'll go paddleboarding with a friend, but I won't be in close quarters that are sweaty.
Yeah, I get it, but most of these businesses in New York with New York rent cannot stay open unless people are shoulder to shoulder sweaty.
Right.
They just can't. There will be capacity requirements. They'll have to stay under a certain amount of max capacity. And I don't think any of this is going to start till September. I have friends at one of my friends works at one of the bigger newspapers in town, and they sent out a memo to their staff a week ago that said very specifically, we are not going to be back in the office till the earliest September 7th.
Yeah.
Summer is canceled here in New York. They've canceled everything. Well, yes. I just got a notification from New York Film Festival. They've canceled their season, and it doesn't even start till the end of September.
Wow.
So they've canceled 2020.
So they've just essentially just looked at the calendar and said, we're just going to wait till we see what happens.
Don't have the money. They're done. Like I'm getting notifications from like small coffee shops and things that say, we just don't have the cash. We're out. We're done. We're closing shop.
There's a chain here that's called Sweet Tomatoes that is like an Italian restaurant chain that is permanently closing. There's just it's going to be, we're not going to know the shakeout for quite a long time. So I mean, we could be here talking about we could talk about COVID all the time, and we all talk about it all the time, but I want to make sure that we get to sexy songs.
Yes, we'll get to sexy songs.
We will get
to sexy songs.
Sexy songs. So
Yeah.
we attempted to pull up some like sort of music playing and thing, but we won't go through that. But we will post the link to the playlist in the comments when we're finished here tonight. And then I am gonna pull up my Spotify on my phone just so that I can see my list, and I cannot wait to hear your list. I can't wait. I sent you my list in advance.
I'm such a sappy person.
It's so good though. That's what makes us all great.
Playlist link. Okay, I've messaged you mine.
Fantastic.
It's a work in progress. Similar to high school, I don't start my homework until like 15 minutes before class starts. So
Hey, I was adding songs to this playlist when we were getting ready to do the show because there were I wanted to add more because I don't know if my mom is actually watching. Her and I talked earlier today, but she did make some suggestions, and one of them I had I don't know how it had slipped my mind, but I really love this artist, so I definitely added at least one of his songs. I should add. Let me see if I can pull up my Spotify without interrupting our feed. I think I can.
I used to do sexy songs in college.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
so
I had a
did
radio show.
Oh, you did?
Show. Yeah, WZMB, The Zombie, down at East Carolina University. Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
used to do the ladies' man.
Oh, the ladies' man.
Yeah, this is the ladies' man. Welcome to the late night show on Friday night. I'm going to start things off with a little bit of D'Angelo.
Oh, D'Angelo, come on. We can start off with D'Angelo.
Got me in so much trouble.
So hold on though. So hold on. Let's see if this will actually work because this song, this is on my list because of the music video. The music video is why any of us at all ever this music video changed my young adolescent life. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or see it. Can you hear it at all?
No. What's the song?
It's called Untitled, in parentheses. How does it feel?
How does it feel? Yes.
Yes. How does it feel? Screen share. Let's see if I can actually. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Gosh, if you can't hear it, that's fine. But just seeing this man, come on. Can you hear it at all, Brandon?
I can't.
Okay, but we'll
get this figured out. Maybe this is something I need to do my tech thing and.
Yes. And maybe we'll revisit some of them. But just looking at the music video, you can understand why this song is on my playlist.
Because it's wonderfully colored and has a very sumptuous look to it, or
that it is beautifully shot. Let's just say that. And then the subject is beautiful to look at. But the entire video is just him. Just him and the camera rotating around him.
It's not because they're showing you his cum gutters, is it? My gay friends prefer to call those Jesus muscles, fuck muscles. They call them cum gutters.
Cum gutters. That might be the first time that I've ever heard that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Just gonna say.
So yes, that is why D'Angelo Untitled, How Does It Feel is on my list. So I named my playlist Let's Get It On because we'll talk about Marvin Gaye here in a minute. Me and Anthony actually had a debate about Marvin Gaye and these songs yes. Because of the other song. No, we had a debate. Sorry, not Marvin Gaye. We had a debate about Prince.
Prince?
Yes. We had
How can you debate about Prince?
So his debate is that the song that I chose is overplayed. It is overplayed, but it's still one of my favorites. It's Little Red Corvette. That song is not about a car. And those of you who think it's about a car, you need to go back and you need to listen to this damn song. So he actually talks about having ponies or horses in his pocket, and he's talking about Trojans. He's talking about condoms, and essentially talking about this entire night with this woman, and it is a wonderful song. And eventually, you get to hear him with said woman, and he gives us the noises he would make with said woman. It's great. It's a great song. So what is a song on yours?
What is a song on my? Well, okay, so I am a sappy romantic, so my playlist is full of Owl City.
Oh, Owl City's so good though. I love Owl City.
Fireflies.
That's a good one.
I like that. Shooting Star, Owl City, Train, Drops of Jupiter.
Oh, that's sappy.
That's sappy. Old sappy.
But Train is good. Train is good.
I had to throw on some more recent stuff, so I did Weekend Blinding Lights tentatively. I have to re-listen to it and decide.
Okay. So
Blinding
there's
Lights.
an asterisk.
There's an asterisk because I have to look through these and see if they're on my sad playlists. She's Gone Away, So Far Away, or
oh yeah. Does this song now have negative memories?
Does this work?
Did I have sex with that one person in this song, and I can't now have sex with other people with this song?
No. It's like Maroon 5, She Will Be Loved is a great song, but upon re-listening to it, it's like, but Sugar is good. Maroon 5, Sugar.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Adam Levine. And my girlfriends love to make fun of me for this story.
You don't like his Jesus muscles?
So he didn't have his Jesus muscles when I met this guy.
Oh. Oh, yes, your husband does kind of look like Adam Levine. I get it now. I get it. Oh, I see. The hair, mostly in the hair.
Okay, this is I will shorten this story as much as I possibly can. So I went, this was before we were all downloading and streaming things on the internet.
Jesus, that's a long time ago.
I know.
That's like 1995, 96.
We were still listening to things on the internet and burning CDs, but we weren't like, you couldn't like get certain, especially music that you really wanted, you still bought, right? Like you still like went to a record store or went to a CD store and bought it.
My parents never gave me an allowance, so I had to download.
No, I downloaded when I was, this was in college. So this was in my early years of college. So the Foo Fighters album One by One had come out, which I am a enormous Foo Fighters fan and have been for a very, very long time. And that album had come out and I wanted it. So I went to Idaho to get it because I went to school in Spokane. And I went to, I don't know that the record store is still there. It was called The Long Ear. And at the time I was 19. And I showed up at the shop, got my album. I'm looking at the back of it. And at the time, Maroon 5's Harder to Breathe had really just started gaining traction on the radio. So it had not become what it had become yet. Adam Levine had long ass hair and was a skinny skater boy. I did not have yoga body Adam Levine with money. This was well before that. So Maroon 5 was there at the Long Ear when I was picking up my Foo Fighters album.
Oh, neat.
And I went up to the table. There was no one there. Nobody there to meet them. Nobody there.
Welcome to the early career.
Oh yeah, nobody there. Yeah. And so I went up to the table. I was like, "Oh, hey guys, I love the song. I've heard it on the radio. It's fun. I appreciate it." And then I bought the album. They signed it, and I was 19. Adam Levine kept trying to get me to come out to a bar with him after their show. So he was very, very keen to get me to be a groupie. And I was just like, Now, mind you, not yoga body with money, Adam Levine.
Yeah, but he was a skater boy. And this is like Avril Lavigne kind of thing. Skater boy.
No, not my thing at all. No. No. If anybody who's ever seen my husband, he is 6'1", has giant shoulders, and he's a big dude. I love big dudes. And Adam Levine was tiny little dude. Tiny little dude. Not my cup of tea.
And now he sings songs about not wanting groupies. Wonderful.
That's what happens when you get yoga and money.
Yeah, yoga and money. Do they come together? Teresa Johnson says, drops of Jupiter, sappy but lovely. And of course, Anthony says, Rat is the better Train song. I will have to listen to that.
Oh, yeah, me too. I don't know that I'll have to pull that up because that seems like a deep cut, Anthony. Come on. So you give another song because I could be here all night talking about this. This really is like my gig. I just love, music is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's Bruno Mars, Just the Way You Are.
Oh, this is a good song. This is a good song. Well-written song. Bruno Mars is a gift to us all. And I know there are people who do not feel that way, but I do feel that way.
Good song.
It is. It's a good song. And you stuck with you like the sappy. It's great. And I went full on of course,
Brown,
Pony.
Brown.
Oh yeah.
Brown.
I was in a funk band. I want some synthesizer. I want a bass guitar. I want some really, really, really deep syncopated beats. I want it.
Yeah.
Pony by Genuine is on my list. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the song, this was on the Magic Mike soundtrack. That is not why I like it. I was introduced to Pony when I was in middle school. It really is it was this quintessential school dance song that, of course, got then pulled by the school dance people because it was too sexy.
Wow. 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 Wow.
See?
Wow.
It's so good.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. I've got a party going on in my mind.
It's such a good song.
Magic
Andrea
Mike
said,
is dreamy. Love me some Pony.
That's right. And that I was in a funk band. Yes, I was in a funk band.
Magic Mike was such an odd movie.
It was very odd. Very, very different.
Yeah, it was. And then the sequel, XXL. I mean, Magic Mike was a breakaway success for how much money they spent on it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It was a huge breakaway success. So they demanded the second movie. I think they kind of dropped the ball in the second movie, but yeah.
I did not see XXL, and probably now I'm going to have to make my husband watch it with me because that'll be fun.
I tried. I think I got through 15 or 20 minutes of it, and I was like, yeah, no.
You're like, and I'm out.
No.
Aren't these the kind of movies I feel like that's what this movie was for? It's for 15 to 20 minutes. You're good. Just long enough. Masturbation.
They turned it into a road movie.
Huh?
So it's a road trip movie instead of it's a road trip movie.
I probably will only make it 15 minutes then too because I would have gone into
some competition.
There more stripping. And then I would have been sad if there was not.
I think if I remember, and it's been a while, I think it took Magic Mike and combined it with Bring It On. So it was like they're headed to a competition or something.
And Andrea, bless you, Andrea, fellow PhD candidate, the fellow sex therapist. Love you. And the dancing makes it worth it. Yes, exactly. That's why we would watch that movie. The rest of it is shit. Beautiful. Beautifully put.
I can make that movie.
You could make that movie. Do it better. Would you? Get on that.
Nah, because it's already been done. That's the danger. When things have already been done and they've been done by C-list. I mean... He's bounced between the B list periodically and the A list.
I mean, fair.
He has his moments. I wouldn't count on him to act, but he delivers a performance.
This is why you keep us honest with evaluating these performances, and I'm just like, is it masturbation worthy?
I mean, do you like Muscle Neck?
See, and it just depends, right? Like it depends.
Yeah. Like, I think that sometimes, well, I mean, unless some people just want a pole to ride. I mean, he does provide that for many men. I know. I mean, people.
Several. Lots of
Types
individuals.
of people. Different.
Okay. I have so many things on my
You have
list.
Jay-Z on there. You've got Rod Stewart. You've got.
Let's hit Rod Stewart. We got to hit Rod Stewart because that was the one my mom reminded me of.
Sexy and you want my body.
Yes, so good. Do You Think I'm Sexy by Rod Stewart is great. Shout out to my mom for reminding me about Rod Stewart. I was like, how did I forget Rod Stewart in a sexy song list? That is fantastic. I don't care how old he gets, his hair is still great. It's probably a wig now, but it's still great.
Yeah. It might not be a wig.
He just great hair.
As long as he's not, well, I mean, he didn't end up with a Peter Frampton.
Oh, that's very true.
I've seen him live.
Music is so good, Peter Frampton's.
And poor people are holding up like his old albums, and he's got this great hair, and then he's like in front of you, and he's like, no more hair. And not even the no more hair in the good way. He's got like the Captain Picard going on.
Yes, full Picard.
Yeah.
Oh,
which I like Picard, but it's just funny seeing someone who's got
I
like
still have a thing for
sex hair. Go to.
I was very excited and cried my eyes out during the first season of Picard. Yep, my nerd is showing in a big way.
I could spend hours dissecting Picard. I'm not going to go there. They lost me. Oh, it had such a great opportunity. Is this masturbation worthy? It's true.
It's a new way
the problem,
to judge.
And this gets down to the issue with corporate-owned entertainment companies.
Yes,
is they just cannot do sexy. They can't. And thanks to where Hollywood has gone with all of its historic issues and having people to actually direct intimacy scenes now, there will be no sexy.
I'm curious.
You will see more people wearing clothing in sex scenes than they were before, and more use of the L sheet that somehow magically covers her but not him.
Do you think that this has changed like historically? Because I'm thinking of like some of the famous, very, very famous like movie like sex scenes that really kind of like broke, at least when you watch a compilation show, they say that, they broke through. Like I'm thinking of like the sex scene in Top Gun. I'm thinking about some of the sex scenes that are considered like iconic. Do you think
if you want to go iconic, you got to go to Marlon Brando, Last Tango in Paris?
Yes.
Which is a softcore movie. I mean, it's really, yes, I think historically it's changed. And I don't think Hollywood's capable of doing sex at this point. Until the studios are no longer owned by multinational companies, they just won't be able to do it.
Interesting. And I mean, we could be here all night about this, but like, do you think, and maybe we should do an entire episode of like the history of like sex in film and be able to show maybe even some of these
with
clips.
A lot of sex. I mean, if you go back before the censorship rules were passed and everything, and that has a term, and it's not coming to me, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah,
but if you go back to the beginning, they were experimenting with some wild, hardcore sex. We're talking like sex on top of altars in churches.
Yeah,
full frontal nudity, full penetration. Things were getting pretty wild before the censors came in. Censors came in, they tamped it down until kind of into the 60s, 70s. Things got wild again. We're
talking like McCarthy era censoring, right?
We're talking that's something separate.
Okay.
This is content. They had actual content rules and regulations they had to follow.
Right. Yes, and it's leaving me too, because there's a podcast I love, and you and I've talked about it. You Must Remember This, and they actually did an entire series on some of these censorship rules that you're talking about and how that changed the industry.
It really did, because things were more likely to meld. The Valley was very close to melding with Hollywood itself. And since the censorship was passed, and that was way back, You can't. And people don't jump from one valley, the valley, Chatsworth and all of that area where Vivid is based and all of the major production companies that do hardcore pornography. You just don't bounce from one valley back into Hollywood, into Los Angeles, into Hollywood proper. No one's been able to do it consistently and for a long time. Some people have managed to do it as character actors. Ron Jeremy is a good example of someone who's really kind of bounced in as a character actor periodically.
Right. Plays himself or something like himself.
A character. Sasha Grey managed to almost bounce in between Soderbergh putting her into Girlfriend Experience, which I sort of like, of. And speaking of that generation of film, really dropping the ball was Canyons. Canyons with Lindsay Lohan and James Dean. James Dean, that's his regular movie. It's not amazing, but it is Bret Easton Ellis, so it is a good screenplay. It is a great example of what happens with Hollywood when they have money, but they try to shoot digital. And this was at the beginning of when Hollywood was trying to do kind of digitally things. IFC picked it up. You can get it on iTunes. I own it just because it's a good example. But they have a threesome scene with Lindsay Lohan, James Dean, and another guy in it at the end. And they didn't, and James Dean, I think she pushes him to go down on the other guy. And they don't really, or it forces the guy to go down on him, and they don't really cover the softcore angle really well. So it's not believable that they're actually having sex. You have to do your angles so that things kind of mesh.
Right.
So it's sort of believable. It's kind of like if you have a sex scene, you really should show the panties being thrown off the bed,
Right. Context matters, which we were going to get into tonight, but I don't think we're going to even have time. But honestly, the showing, people don't necessarily, when you're looking at a visual medium, they don't necessarily assume that context. You have to show them those things.
Yeah. You have to show it, or you have to break the scene. So in Grindr, we have a rape scene at the end of it. And when I was shooting it originally, I did inserts of pants, underwear, and then thrusting from both the angle of one character looking into the lens while the other character's behind him, and from the other character's backside, getting a nice butt shot. But when I got into editing, it just didn't work. And so he gets thrown down onto a couch, and I break from that into a flashback scene from earlier in the script when he's leaving home and he's looking into a mirror making his decision to leave home. I had that covered from a second angle. Then I bounce back to him with the guy behind him shadowed in the background, fucking him.
Right.
And then I bounce between that shot and the shot of him looking into the mirror for maybe a minute and a half. And that's how I get around not covering the removal of clothing.
I see. So
because the audience can bridge the gap. They don't need that shown to them.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So making the filling in the context with essentially other forms of body language.
Yeah. And it allowed me to do some other kind of fun filmmaking things, which maybe eventually some film professor will go back on and be like, ooh, it brings the whole story in circle. It shows how people in damaged relationships end up in damaged relationships. All these things I have kind of bundled into that moment that work psychologically for the character, which no one really cares about. Am I kidding?
We should do like a Grindr watch party here on Facebook or something. That would be really
yeah. I mean, it's I haven't even watched it in a long time. But it's been up on Amazon. It's still doing well. But yeah, so back to like Hollywood doing sex scenes. I mean, it's really like I rarely see something that I'm jazzed about, think is great. I think they're just going to get worse. I think there's going to be less opportunity to do them now that they have intimacy coaches. It's just,
Honestly, we really do need to do an entire episode about it, because then you can curate a list of things, of movies for us to see, and
Sure.
then we could do I'll do my homework before, and then we can talk about it and have maybe a watch party of some of the movies that you suggest. That would be super fun. So, but to wrap up our sexy playlist, we haven't even gotten to all of the ones. I have Ludacris on mine because I love What's Your Fantasy. I love that song very, very much. That's exactly. Yeah, and you're hearing in your head right now.
You can see from our lists that I grew up in some of my formative years in Minnesota and Utah.
And you can tell, yes, I'm very much.
And you can tell that in your formative years.
I grew up in California. Like hip hop and R&B was such a big part of my like young adolescence, and like not in a way that my parents ever knew, because they did not allow me to listen to. I grew up in a very evangelical Christian household. They did not necessarily let me listen to those things, which was funny because my husband, see, I'm tired. My dad, that is not a slip of the tongue. Freud is not correct here. My dad was a huge Led Zeppelin fan, and introduced me to some amazing rock and roll. So, yes, the hypocrisy was not lost in me as a teen.
The only artists my parents introduced me to were Yanni, Kenny G, Mannheim Steamroller.
Oh, well, Mannheim Steamroller.
Amy Grant.
Hey, Amy Grant's got a voice. Got a voice on her.
Yeah, but
listen
really,
to the gospel. But not when you're a young teenager. You're like, that's boring shit. I don't want to listen to it. My mom, of course, suggested Barry White, because every sex.
I've heard people say.
But the one that I added was Can't Get Enough of Your Love, because it is a wonderful song, regardless of what playlist you're putting it on. Can't Get Enough of Your Love, baby, is a great song.
Why do I get the feeling you use a turntable to put your playlist on?
I am. Here's the sacrilegious part of it. I love digital music. I do not have a preference for vinyl, and probably
the vinyl on all of these.
Probably because I grew up in that era of cassette, right? Like the cassette tape and then the CD were like our primary mediums. My parents had a lot of vinyl when I was growing up, so I listened to like old school country on vinyl. I listened to Hank Williams on vinyl. I listened to Patsy Cline on vinyl, but I also listened to Huey Lewis and the News on vinyl. So I definitely, for me, I think the preference comes from tech, because it was tapes and sitting next to the radio, waiting for your song to come on that you requested, and then hit record really, really fast.
Yeah.
That took a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And then what was your favorite music downloading medium?
Depended on the era and if I was going to get in trouble using that one specifically.
Fair.
They all used port addresses, and I was dorky enough to know time to move on.
I used Napster at first, and then it was LimeWire.
Napster.
Kazaa at one point.
First. Yeah, and then I used Audio Galaxy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Great, because it was not in a piece of software. It was desktop. It was HTML.
Oh, yes.
So you didn't have to actually download a piece of software to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea why I was never pulled into the dean's office, because I knew of instances of them shutting people's internet access off, but never quite got me. And there was a lot of other stuff you could find on Kazaa.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that you probably did not really want to see, but it was there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I know at one point, this was 2000s, people. We were in Afghanistan already, so it's like 2002, 2003.
Yes.
And there was a soldier or someone who had been captured by the Taliban, and I was like, well, I wonder. And lo and behold, I found his beheading video.
Oh, yes. I remember that was a place where that people could find some of the beheading videos. I remember that.
I will never get that out of my head. I couldn't watch it, the whole thing. I mean, I watched it for a certain bit and I was like, holy nope, delete.
Like, get this out of my brain and get this off of my computer.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get that out of my brain. But then again, I do sound design for stuff, so sometimes those things will end up being used in my brain.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
So, what's another on your list? Mine is full
on my
of
list.
mine's full of hip hop and R&B.
I mean, that was pretty much, the week at Train.
Oh, you said you didn't say which Weekend song you put it on there.
Oh, I put on Blinding Lights.
I do love that song.
The new one. Yeah, it's fun. It's good. And I have a feeling that if I were to do a bit more work, I'd find more on this style because I do like analog synth is really, it's something I've really enjoyed for the last couple of years. It's this resurgence of the 80s sound.
Yes.
It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. But yeah, a lot of the Owl City and those sorts of songs, Maroon 5, bring me back to California because that was a lot of the stuff I used to listen to when I was in California. And before that was The Fray.
Oh, yes, The Fray.
Yeah, back in the late 2000s, I had a little bedtime mix, and that was a lot of Fray. And Snow Patrol.
Snow Patrol. Oh, you're speaking my language right there. I do love. They are Irish, correct?
I don't know.
I love them. I love them very, very much. Somebody's going to correct me and probably say Scottish, but I think they're Irish. But I love Snow Patrol very, very much. Yes, many of theirs. Oh, Crack the Shutters. God, that song's good. That song. So good. My Jay-Z song that shows up on mine is I Just Want to Love You. I do love that song. That's an old Jay-Z song.
Oh yes, Crack the Shutters. I'm listening to it right now.
So good. So good. I do love that song. But the song that I haven't talked about is Sound and Color from Alabama Shakes. I think there are a lot of Alabama Shakes songs that could show up on your sexy mix, like Don't Want to Fight. Like that is also another wonderful Alabama Shakes song. But it is just something about Brittany Howard's voice. It is just got this texture to it that I love so very much. The blues and the it's like she pulls her voice from like she took like 20 minutes to scream and then sang a song. It is so textured and beautiful and wonderful range and has such a expert control over her instrument. Just I admire Brittany Howard a lot. Yeah. But I think that's all of the songs that are on mine. I did add some of the songs that were already suggested when I posted our image. We already got a lot of people who were dropping songs in the comments, and so I added those to the list as well. Someone suggested by Highly Suspect the song Wolf, which I have not listened to yet, so I cannot say yes, plus or minus, like yes or no. That's a great song, but I added it to the playlist. But yes, we're going to be adding songs. We will add the entire playlist. We'll make it open for all of you so you can add it to your Spotify playlists. And hopefully if y'all use Spotify, here's the reality. You can use Spotify free. So jump on there. Even if you don't have it, you can actually listen to my other show, Sex Talk with Erika and Brandon, as well as Spotify.
There's a lot of, I've been getting into new podcasts There was Anonymous Smut, which is a podcast.
Yes, which I hope we can have that person on our show.
Or hopefully she'll be in touch. She's been busy. A couple of my friends who do medical conferences were looking for something to do. And they do this. It's kind of like MedX. They do kind of like a TEDx talks, but they're medical. So they've got all these interesting people, and they decided, okay, we'll do a podcast. So it's not medical in nature. It's the Curtis and Coulter podcast. And they have, for the first 2 episodes, Brian Kramer, who's a big marketing guru, and then Mike Massimino, who's a astronaut. And he talks about isolation and everything. So that's being isolated on like the International Space Station. So that's neat. And they're like 16-minute episodes, so it's really some good stuff. It's amazing to me all the things people are starting to do. There are definitely some people who are innovating during this. I have another friend who's doing a new startup called Deskimo, like Deskimo, and you can like Airbnb your back office, and someone can, so you can work out of someone's home. So think about it, like when Starbucks is only at like a quarter capacity, people are going to be able to go onto an app like this and say, well, I want to work somewhere other than my own home. So, this looks fun and includes coffee,
That is amazing. Airbnb your desk. That's cool.
Yeah, so Deskimo.
Deskimo. That is fascinating. So we will make sure that all of you have all of the things in the comments. And we'll talk sex and context soon, but keep your eyes peeled for Hollywood sex scenes in their movies. Like I really want to do that. That'll be great.
There's like a big one in Short Bus. It's like huge orgy scene, if I remember right. But anyway,
yes. You see, then you get to do that. Then you get to make me do my homework before we start.
Homework. All right. Well, everyone have a good night. Stay happy and healthy, and don't go too nuts.
Yes. Keep washing your hands. Keep doing things. And we will see you all next time.
Next Friday. Bye-bye.